and welcome back to Andrew Gamera Coaching and NoPainAllGain.ca. Today, we're talking about feeling others' emotions. Feeling others' emotions can be exhausting. Have you ever entered a room feeling happy and strong and left completely drained? Then you may be a highly sensitive person, or HSP, as I am. Being an HSP has its benefits, but it can make most social gatherings, even the small ones, incredibly challenging. When you feel deeply, you often take on the emotions of others. When you feel deeply, you may connect easily with others, but often you end up taking on their emotions. Here is how I protect myself from taking on more than I need to. So what is a highly sensitive person? Health.com has an excellent article by Sarah Schuster entitled, "What Does It Mean to Be a Highly Sensitive Person?" I highly recommend reading the entire article as it's very enlightening. Here are some quotes from her article to set the framework for our discussion. People with SPS have increased sensitivity to sensory information in their environment, making them more aware of stimuli or things that stimulate or trigger your senses, such as sound, movement, and the emotions of others. Those who are highly sensitive tend to be more attuned to the emotions of others, have high levels of empathy, and deeply appreciate art and beauty. Sarah Schuster also points out that the HSP is a trait, not a disorder, so there is no need to panic if you are an HSP. It is a lot more common than you think, as it's believed that more than 20% of the population are HSPs. Here are some traits of HSPs from Sarah Schuster's article. Depth of processing. HSPs don't just notice more, they actually process information more deeply. This includes experiencing high levels of empathy, intense feelings for others, an active imagination or inner world, and profound thoughtfulness. Overstimulation. Oftentimes, this extra and deeper processing can easily lead to overstimulation. HSPs show stronger arousal in daily situations, which may cause them to become stressed and overwhelmed more frequently. Emotional intensity. HSPs experience a larger spectrum of emotional intensity, meaning that they have more intense negative and positive emotions. They may feel higher highs and lower lows. Sensory sensitivity. It's common for HSPs to have a lower tolerance for high levels of sensory input. This includes having a low pain threshold, but also the ability to notice subtle differences in their environment. So here are some of the benefits of feeling other people's emotions. First of all, feeling other people's emotions is not a bad thing. It makes you connect deeply with them so that you can sometimes know them even better than they do. And this is a really great gift for teachers, counselors, police officers, caregivers of all kinds, actors, and artists. If you find that your friends frequently come to you for advice, then this may be the reason why. I bet that you are very easy to talk to and are a great listener. That is one of the big identifiers of an HSP. This is an incredibly important gift for anyone to have in this crazy, overworked world that we live in. It's really important to have people that know how to listen instead of just talk, that you can connect with, share your problems and concerns, and know that you've been heard. Now, taking on others' emotions doesn't mean we are codependent on other people. It simply means that we have a highly developed ability to connect and reach other people. This also means that we tend to be able to feel their emotions, and in such, we want to make them feel better and fix everything, which is not our job. So knowing where to draw that line in our conversations with other people is really important to protect our own health and well-being. But what are some drawbacks of being able to feel other people's emotions so easily? Well, one of them is boundaries. You need to know where to draw the boundaries so that you don't take on more than you need to. You need to be able to separate your emotions from theirs, or else it can get very overwhelming very quickly. So for me, I have to be very careful with the movies that I watch. Watching any horror flicks or thrillers of any kind, dark dramas, I have to be very careful because I will start to take on the emotions of the characters that I'm watching on screen. And it doesn't end when the movie does. I can be processing what I've just seen for days. Not just the night after I've watched it, but for actual days. It's really hard for me to let it go because I'm wired to want to help them fix whatever issues they were going through. So for me, I have found that I just cannot watch those anymore. So I allow my family to watch them when I'm not around. So my connection to others' emotions has always been there. As a child in school, my classmates used to come and ask advice and talk to me about their problems. And it just continued through my entire life. I mean, I've got such an emotional attachment to things that I can even attach emotions to my toys, to gifts I've been given by other people, to animals, pretty much to anything. Everything that I see, I can remember who gave it to me, what the circumstances were, and so it's very hard for me to throw things away. I am not a pack rat, and we don't have any issues that way. But every gift I've been given has some kind of an emotional attachment to me because of the person who gave it or the situation within for which I received it. So here are some tips for managing others' emotions. So number 1, recognize it's happening. Recognize that they are not yours to keep. Draw a line in the sand. Help where you can, and then decide to let them go. So our first one is to recognize that it's happening. So when you walk into a room and you're feeling great and you go along with your day, and then all of a sudden you start to feel your emotions changing, that's when you need to stop and recognize what's going on. So who did I just talk to? Why am I feeling this way? What's the situation? And then once you realize that you're taking on somebody else's emotion, you need to stop right there and go, nope, that one's not mine. It's okay. And escort those feelings out, because a feeling is just an emotion and it will pass. But it won't pass if you don't realize right away that it's there and then tell it, nope, that's not my emotion. That's not mine to take on. And you move it on. So don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. It just means that you have to start talking your brain out of the spiral before it gets out of hand. So here are some affirmations that you could use to counter when you feel that you have been emotionally hijacked. Oh, I'm taking on someone else's emotions again. It's okay, brain. Everything is fine, and I don't need to do this. 2, their emotion are theirs. They're not mine, and I don't need to feel their emotions in order to help them. Number 3, those emotions are not mine, and I will not allow them to affect me anymore. 4, I love how sensitive I am, but I am protecting myself now by letting them go. And 5, I will not take on anyone else's emotions today. I am so awesome. So you may need to say these affirmations over and over for quite a long time. I have found that if I write them out in my journal before I go to bed at night and then repeat them first thing in the morning, it will really help me get control of my brain quickly and be able to escort those thoughts out. It may take time, but the more you repeat them, the easier it's going to get. So give this a try. It really does work. So the big thing is that these emotions are not yours to keep. They are theirs, and you have yours. It's very normal for HSPs to want to help everyone around them, and we can feel their emotions. We know what they're feeling. And if you've ever caught yourself saying, oh, I just feel so bad for Bob, hours after you've left work, then you understand what I'm meaning. Or if you're still angry at your spouse over something that was said yesterday, and they're laughing at whatever sitcoms on TV, totally oblivious that you're still upset. Yeah, I've been there too. But we have to realize that there is a point where we have to let those thoughts, those feelings, we have to move them on, because they're only harming us. And our minds are really, really expensive real estate. They don't need to be taken up with these negative thoughts that are making us feel sick inside. Recognize that they're not yours to keep. If your spouse comes home and they're upset because of something that happened at work, you listen. If they want some suggestions back, you can give your 2 cents worth. And then when they're done, you're done. Unless they're asking for advice for how to continue, how to move on, then it's not yours to hold on to. You can let it go. And with the affirmations I mentioned before, that's all you need to do. You just have to tell them, you know what, brain, I love how helpful you want to be, but they're good. We've solved this and we can move on now. And then just repeat it over and over. And just stop yourself. The minute you start to ruminate, stop, put in a better thought, and move the other one. And the other one will disappear, because if it's not being dwelled upon, it's going to fade into the distance. I mean, I've heard that we have about 80,000 thoughts go through our brain a day, and you don't have to entertain every single one of them. You get the choice which ones get to come and stick around a while, and the ones that are not helpful, and they get kicked out the door. You have that power. You can kick them right out the door and just choose to think on something else. And it does take time. It's a game plan that's for the long run. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And you just have to be very vigilant with yourself that when you feel that spiral happening, stop it by asking yourself a question and then just telling your brain, no, that one's not mine. It can move on. And I want to emphasize that for most HSPs, this is an incredible gift. The problem is that we take on other people's emotions as our own, and we're the worse off for it. I mean, all most people really need is someone to listen to them. Because when they're talking, they're working out the issue in their mind as well. So they don't really expect you to solve their issues. They certainly don't want you to take on their emotions. They just need to vent. They just need to get it off their chest and work it out through their own mind. And speaking it verbally, talking to others about our issues, is a really great way to do that. So let them talk. Let them feel their feelings. You can be compassionate. You can sympathize. You can offer some suggestions if they're willing to listen. But beyond that, realize it's not yours. And when you are willing to accept that, it'll be much easier to let those emotions go. You know, my mom has a really great phrase that she says, not my monkeys, not my zoo. I know, it is a bit funny. And it's a nice positive spin to put on it. Is that, you know what, you don't have to solve all the problems of the world. It's really not our job to do that. So whatever funny way you can turn it around in your brain, if it is something just as simple as not my monkeys, not my zoo, not my problem, whatever works for you, just find a way, find a phrase that helps you go, it's okay, let it go. Okay, so another great thing you can do is to just breathe. Breathe in through your nose for 8 seconds, out through your mouth for 8 seconds. And as you're breathing in and releasing, just release the emotions as well. You know, you could think even something as you're breathing in, you could go, all these emotions can go away. And just blow them away as if you're blowing away a cloud, blowing away smoke, blowing out a candle. But just consciously go, just let them go. And that's a really great way to move them through. Plus, you're oxygenating your body, which is super healthy at any time of the day. So our next step is to draw a line. Draw a boundary line of where you are willing to go emotionally with someone and where that ends. You know, most people will be really attractive to people with a big heart that want to help. But some people are emotional energy vampires. And if you connect deeply with them, they will suck you dry. And then they'll move on to someone else. And they won't care that you're emotionally spent over their issues. They just move on to the next person who's willing to allow them to suck their energy. So draw the line that you are not going to be one of those people that allows this to happen to you anymore. So be compassionate, listen, give advice, but prepare to draw a line to where you're not going to allow them to pass any further. So if you have people in your life that are emotional energy vampires, there's a number of things you can do. One, you can limit your time with them. If there's topics that they like to go to that are a no-go for you, you can let them know that. Say, you know what? This is a topic that we just can't discuss. You and I have different opinions on this, and neither one is going to be able to change the other's mind. So I love spending time with you, but this is going to have to be a topic we don't discuss. And you can also decide how much time you want to spend talking to them or about a simple subject topic. I mean, politics these days doesn't seem to matter where you are in the world, but there's lots of people with differing opinions on the same political issues. And so sometimes you just have to draw the line there and say, you know what? Sorry, this one's off limits because I want to remain your friend. I want to be able to chat with you. I love hanging out with you, but this just can't be something we discuss. And most people, if they're reasonable, will understand your point of view. And if you're not, and if they don't, if they keep crossing that line with you, then you'll just need to limit the amount of time that you actually spend with them. And when you are done talking with them, you need to consciously reset your brain. You can do this by going for a walk, doing jumping jacks, singing, listening to music, just, moving your body, getting out to a different environment so that you can just kind of shake it off, breathe, get it out of your body. I mean, it's just like Taylor Swift's song says, baby, I'm just going to shake, 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 shake. I shake it off. I shake it off. So our next step is to help where you can. With our high capacity for social interconnectivity, HSPs tend to gravitate towards the care fields. So don't avoid to put yourself out there. It's really important for us to do what makes us feel valued and needed by others. So help whenever you can, wherever you can. Just make sure that you're protecting your own well-being. If you are a coach or a counselor, don't take your clients back to back. Give yourself at least 5 to 15 minutes to decompress from one client before you move on to the next. Anything that helps you release the emotions of your last conversation is a great thing to be doing. Remember that you can't help anyone else if your cup is empty. So whatever you need to do to decompress from what you've just gone through, do it. Even if it's just a simple nope, not mine, that's perfect. And that way you can move on with your day and not get dragged down by other people's emotions. The next thing is to decide to let them go. I've always hated that Frozen song, Let It Go, just because it was so overplayed and you couldn't get away from it, whether you were in a schoolyard, grocery store, it was playing all the time. And then people would be saying, oh, just let it go. No, annoy me to no end. But what I've learned since is that it really is important to decide to let things go. And it's the power of the decision that is so important, because when you decide something, then you take action on it. Because if you haven't taken action on it, then it's really not been decided. It's just been kind of ruminated on. So when you decide that you're going to let that thought go away, then let it go away. When you decide you're not going to take on other people's emotions, then do that. Do what you need to do to not get emotionally dragged down by other people's emotions. I mean, there was a time when I thought that my tendency for deep emotional connection was just part of me and there was nothing I could do about it. But as I studied more about the power of the mind, neuroplasticity, positive mindset, I discovered that our brains were a lot more powerful than I thought they were, that culture was and the media was trying to teach us and tell us. And I realized it's a decision. Everything you do with a life is a decision. How you think, what you eat, how you live, the job you do, the friends you have, everything is a decision. And it all rests on you. There's no one else you can blame for the decisions. Once you are about 18 and you move out of your house and you become what in society calls an adult, then everything after that is your decision, and it's time to stop blaming anyone else for what you do in life. So So what I've discovered is that our minds are a lot more powerful than we give them credit for. I mean, God created us with incredible brains. There's not a single computer on this world in our advanced technology age that can even come anywhere close to what our brains can do. The one interesting thing is that our subconscious cannot tell the difference between truth and lies. So whatever you keep telling it, it's going to start believing. So if you are calling yourself an idiot and worthless, your subconscious is going to go, oh, well, if I'm an idiot and I'm worthless, then I guess I must behave this way. And it will start creating that in your daily life. So you start getting evidence all around you of poor decisions and feelings of not being worth anything. But the good news is that you can change that. Our brains have neuroplasticity, and with that, we can change how our brains think and work. And because of that, we can change how our bodies and how our life, our daily life is experienced by just choosing more positive thoughts, by refusing to believe these horrible, nasty things that come into our brains every so often. And I know everyone is guilty of those from time to time. I certainly am. But we need to stop those horrible negative thoughts, tell them they're false, and then put in something that we know to be true. And that way we can get more of that reality in our life. And it's the same with our emotions. We can choose which emotions of other people we take on and which ones we're willing to say, you know what, that one's not mine. That was Bob's. And as much as I can sympathize with Bob, I don't need that in my life. So I'll give it back to Bob. I listened, I helped him, I did the best I could, and now those are his emotions. And I can move on with my day, knowing that I helped in the best way I could. But this also means that we can actually let it go. We can escort those negative thoughts out of our mind and out of our body. Because thoughts and emotions are very, very intricately linked. So a thought can bring on an emotion and an emotion can bring on a thought, but they both can pass. And we can send them out. We can just tell them to leave because they're not helpful in the situation. But that's a decision, and we have to make that decision and then act on it. So whether you want to shake it off or let it go, it's up to you. When you feel negative emotions coming up inside you, you can face them head on and say, nope, you're not well, go. And when you say that enough, they will leave. Because let's face it, who wants to stick around where they're not wanted? So in conclusion, feeling others' emotions is a really great gift. It's wonderful to be able to connect deeply with someone, to be able to sympathize, understand where they're coming from, and help them work through problems and issues that are really weighing on their hearts and minds. It's just a tremendous asset. But we also need to be very careful to set up boundaries so that we don't get sucked down in the emotional chaos as well. So I hope you have found these tips helpful and you can start to assimilate them into your life. Choose the ones that work for you and ignore the ones that don't. That's your choice. That's your decision to make. But if you would like more help with this, please reach out to me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca, and I would be more than happy to chat with you about how to work through this in your life. And if you want to work with me as a one-on-one coach, I would be more than thrilled to work with you as well. Because that's what I am. I'm a health and wellness coach that helps people work through the issues that are holding them back from the goals they want to achieve. And so you can reach out to me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca, and we can set up a free consultation to find out if working together would be a good fit for both of us, and then we can set up a time schedule and get to work. Now, I also specialize in fibromyalgia and chronic illness. So if you or someone you know might benefit from this, again, reach out to me and I'd be happy to start chatting with you. If you know anybody that is trying to work through managing their symptoms of fibromyalgia, I actually have a book that I've just completed. It's called Tips for Living with Fibromyalgia and Chronic Illness. And I will put a link here so that you can get yourself or a friend a copy and they can start implementing those tips as well so that they can live a vibrant and happy life just where they are. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. And I am truly grateful for that. So if you found this information interesting, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, leave a comment below. I'd be eternally grateful for that, because that tells the algorithm that this is valuable information that needs to be shown to others. And it's completely free, but a huge help for me. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.